This is a brief introduction to an upcoming series of repair videos that I'll be posting fairly soon, and the item in question is inside this box. Now this doesn't belong to me, it's been sent to me for repair, and unfortunately when I saw this box I realised that there was going to be damage to this item. Now just so you don't think I'm picking on someone unfairly here, it's actually at the suggestion of the owner that I'm showing this, and he suggested that I could perhaps include this as an example of what can go wrong if there is insufficient packaging when you ship these vintage pieces of equipment. Now I have posted, about 8 or 9 months ago, I posted some videos on the importance of double boxing and why you need to do that to avoid damage. As I say, when I saw this box I realised that there was going to be an issue. Shipping something like this, I'll just give you an example of the sort of boxing I would use. It would be something more like this, and much bigger box, lots and lots of compliant bubble wrap or something spongy to absorb shock, but unfortunately what's in this is something very different. So firstly, it's quite a heavy machine, but as is common with a lot of vintage equipment, the assembly is really a heavy chassis, and they went through probably a 20-year phase of putting heavy metal chassis into fairly flimsy plastic cases. And of course that's a recipe for disaster. If you drop it or subject to any sort of impact, it's going to cause a lot of damage. Mostly to the case. Quite often the chassis and the internal workings survive, but the case will be fairly badly damaged. So I haven't taken this out of the box yet. I wanted to show this on camera, but like I said, I've got the permission of the owner to show this, so don't think I just pick on people unnecessarily, but we thought this would be quite an interesting thing to show, and it will hopefully help other people avoid similar issues in the future. So if we open this up and see what's inside. So the first thing is, apparently he has done some work on this, so there are what look like some components in here. I'm not quite sure what they're in here for, I'll have a look at those later. But what's the only packaging in here, the only padding, is this hard polystyrene. Now that does not offer any protection whatsoever to these pieces of equipment because it's hard. What causes damage with these is sudden shocks, and of course that's going to be the same whether it's inside something like this or not. You need something that absorbs that impact, and this does not do that. So we'll get this out of the way. So more of the same. Again, this will not offer any protection whatsoever. If you recognise the machine yet, you should do when I remove this. And as you can see, it's a Mimi 802. Apparently it wasn't there wasn't any damage when it was shipped. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of damage to this. The plastic case is broken in several places. We've got a huge crack here. It's broken over here. Several keys have been broken off. Don't know if these switches are damaged. The biggest issue with this is there's a heavy metal chassis that hangs from the underside of the plastic case, and that has the 2 disk drives and also the power supply attached to it, and that just hangs on some fairly flimsy mounts on this plastic case. Now on most of these I've seen that chassis been bent down over time where it's been dropped on the bench, but this particular one, as you can see, this packaging will offer no protection to this machine whatsoever. The courier doesn't care. They will just throw it into their van, throw it onto your doorstep, and obviously any impact to the outside of the box will be transmitted directly through to the machine, and then the metal chassis will be thrown about inside the plastic case, and this is the result. It will do an awful lot of damage to the machine. I haven't looked inside this yet. I haven't even taken it out of the box. One thing we can see straight away that gives me a lot of cause for concern is you can see that the disk drives and the main chassis, the metal chassis, is dropped down. You can't even see the slot in the left hand drive anymore, and that is now resting on top of the main board. There's a big main board that's in the bottom of these, and the heavy metal chassis is now sitting directly on top of that, and if it's been like that in shipping for any length of time, it may have completely destroyed the main board, so this may not even now be repairable. If you're going to ship something like this, look at my videos on double boxing. If you just put it in a box like this, I can guarantee it will be destroyed in shipping. So word of caution, if you're going to ship something like this, package it properly. It is possible to ship these. It does cost money to ship them. You need to get some decent boxes, and what I tend to do is hang on to the boxes, so when I want to ship something out, I can reuse the same boxes, so I don't have to keep buying large boxes. So I have got a storeroom that has some large boxes in, lots of bubble wrap and foam chips, and I always pick something appropriate for shipping a piece of equipment like this, but this is not the way to do it. So in the next video in this series, we'll have a look inside this, see what the internal damage is, see whether this is a feasible repair. I'm hoping it is, but it really depends on how much damage has been done to the main board, and we'll go from there. The Mimis are quite an interesting machine, so hopefully this can be resurrected and we can get it working. It was only sent to me to get it actually running, but as you can see, that now might be quite an uphill struggle. So word of warning, if you're going to ship things, package them properly.